Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I got a great interview this morning for you. I got my friend Michael Bennett with me. How you doing this morning, Michael?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So Michael comes to us from the lovely state of Florida, and we're gonna turn this interview a little differently. Michael recently purchased a quad or a fourplex, and
hmm
he's been watching my videos for a while and realizes that in the last week or so I've been sending out some warning signs about be careful and things of that nature. So Michael reached out and said, "I got one. I want to talk about it, and let's run through the numbers and let me know what you think." I'm like, "Wow, first off, good for you." Reaching out, and it's brave, right? You have some guy that you watch that's saying be careful, and you're like, I got one, let's talk about it. So I'm like, I got to meet this guy, and
Yeah.
let's run through the numbers. So Michael, why don't you tell us the story of your fourplex?
Okay. About a year ago, I started listening to the podcast and started getting out the information regarding numbers. I would like to mention that I had a property before in around 2006, 2007. Um, and I never pay attention to the numbers. I just leave it there. I'm just paying the rent. And then finally I started to say, look, this is something that I really want to do, and I want to start uh, uh, growing. So I was able to refinance that one. I get a little bit of cash out of it, and I joined together with my brother, and we started looking. That our first approach was to look for single family homes
Hmm.
in the area of Jacksonville, Florida. And then after that, I was doing a deal there, but it didn't went through. Then we went to the area of Jacksonville, and Jacksonville we started looking a little bit with a little bit more experience, thinking, okay, what else can we do besides single family home? So we saw a couple of duplex and quads
Hmm.
with we look into these quads, and we thought that the numbers were good.
Hmm.
The property. You want me to go over the numbers?
Yeah, let's just put it all out there, right? You own it
Okay,
now, so
I own it. I own it. So
congratulations.
thank you. The property it cost us 215,000.
Okay. Yep.
We give about 25% down.
Okay.
The the renters are altogether is 2,600.
Okay.
And I got to believe that we are cap, not the cap, the ROI. I think that we are in the between 10 and 12%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, those are numbers. The property it was already rented. That's one of the coolest things that I would like to mention. With real estate, as soon as we were signing in the property, we were already okay. We signed on December the 20th,
Yep.
and the renter from the 20th to the 30th was already belonged to us. So we were
Yeah.
like, we literally signing right now, and we're getting money back. So
Yeah.
that's one of the coolest things about it.
Yeah.
Then once we are very excited about this quad, but then I like to continue learning more. I heard from your videos that those are a little bit skeptical things to buy, so that's why I
Yep.
reached out to you. And said, man, let me see from a professional, from my experience, see what if I really in a good position
Yeah.
or we just okay.
Yeah.
That's
So let's talk about it. So first off, congratulations. Taking action is by far the most important thing in this business. Too many people sit on the sidelines, or worse, sort of go out there with half intentions and never buy anything. So you deserve a huge amount of credit for doing this, regardless of what I think, right? It just doesn't matter what I think. But but let's talk about the fourplex. So first and foremost, I want it to be known for everyone listening. I think fourplexes are awesome investments for real estate investors. I just and for my 16 or 17 years doing it, I think they were the ideal investment for first time investors.
okay.
However, I think the last year or so, it has become, I don't know what word to use, dangerous. You just have to watch, because I own a lot of these properties, and I
hmm
see lots of other owners I know. And for whatever reason, there are so many people screaming, I want units, that we can sell stuff that's not repaired for after repair value. So for example, I don't know your market, so I'll talk about mine. In my market, you should be able to sell a beautiful fourplex for about $100K a door, so $400,000. However, you should be able to sell junk for about $60,000 a door. What I'm seeing in today's market, and again, I don't know Jacksonville, so who knows, but we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
In today's market, I'm seeing owners of junk sell for like 85 or 90 without doing any repairs. And I think that's overpaying, right? You should pay 60, maybe 65. You shouldn't pay 90, and you shouldn't pay 100. So that's what I'm seeing. There's just not a lot of these. So supply is constrained. There's more buyers than I've ever seen. And that's just the weird thing. It's like, I don't know who it is, Grant Cardone, all these syndications. I don't know where it comes from, but in the last year, 90% of the people I talk to scream, I want units and I want units first. And that's just going to cause prices to rise. If it goes much higher, if I could sell junk for 100 that I don't have to fix, I'll just sell my stuff and wait, because this is what's going to happen is the people that pay 100 for junk are going to run it for a year or two, realize that real estate investing is hard and that they overpaid, and they're going to either sell it for a loss or they're going to give it back to the bank. I've seen this before, right? In 2006 to 8, people were overpaying for houses.
Yeah.
So what did we do? Like you'll read in my book, right? We sold our houses and we bought apartments. And today, maybe I should sell my apartments and buy houses, because everybody wants units. So if you're going to overpay, I'm going to get out of the way. So that's what I'm afraid of. But let's talk about your deal now. Mm-hmm. So I wrote it down. 215, 25% down, which is roughly 55,000. You're collecting $2,600 in rent. So I'm guessing they're one bedrooms.
No, they two ones.
Oh, they're all 2 ones?
All 2 ones.
So they rent for
about $650 each.
Okay, so $650 each. Okay.
I believe that I can go up, but I'm not relying on that. Yeah. I'm just with that number, we're still cash flowing right now. Mm-hmm. So if by any chance in a year or two we continue growing on the rent, it's going to be even better for us.
Of course. So that's where you need to be careful. But let's talk about this. So $650, is it one story?
Yes.
Is the roof flat or peak?
Peak.
And what's the construction in Florida? Because you all have hurricanes. Is it?
Yeah, this one is a CMU construction. Yeah.
So that's good, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So just for people that don't know, what does CMU stand for?
Block. Concrete block construction.
Yeah. Okay.
Concrete block.
Yeah, which basically means it can withstand like a Hurricane 4, right, or whatever.
Correct. Yes, that's the most important thing. So if the worst can happen, hopefully it's either flood or the roof goes off. But
the building will stand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the building.
And then parking is street parking or carports?
Street parking.
Okay.
Parking, but they have their own assigned parking.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what's around it? Is it a bunch of other fourplexes and duplexes, or houses, or is it mixed?
It's a mix. It's a mix. They have duplexes and they have houses. It's I would call it a C class neighborhood.
Sure. All right. How close is it to transportation, schools, all that kind of stuff?
It's close to schools, but from what I saw when I was driving around, they are very inside in a cul-de-sac area. So if you don't have a transportation, you probably will have to walk a bit to get into the main road.
All right. And then how long have the tenants been there? Do you know when you saw the leases, when you got them at closing?
I saw the lease. Okay, I have two of them that they are already about to expire in this year. Uh-huh. And the other two has been there for, I don't know for how long, but the lease has been there for a year or so. Okay. So they're all rented. I don't know if they've been there for many years and it's the same renter. Yeah. I just looked at the latest sales lease that they had.
Yeah, one of the things you should do next time is try to figure out how long they've been there. Just it's good to know, because if they start saying 3, 4, 5 years, it probably means they're not much of a headache collecting, right? Most landlords wouldn't put up with that. So that's, you just try to figure out, what kind of history you have with them. And then if they have kids, you want to understand, are the kids in school? How long have they been there? They have all their friends. It's just more stuff that you can learn.
So wait, from your point of view, you will look more into the people that stay the longest, or that is more flexible because of their in rent purpose.
Well, I'm looking for information. I wouldn't go into that situation biased. I want to know, I'm trying to figure out, okay, apartment A, they've been there 3 years. They have a 6-year-old, and the 6-year-old's enrolled in the local school. Okay. They're going to probably be there a while, right? Because they don't want to take their friends out. Now, there's a single guy in apartment D who's, works not. I mean, you're just trying to figure out who's in your property, right?
Got it.
A signed lease is secondary. You're trying to figure out who's there, who do you need to manage? Because again, one bad apple can ruin a fourplex, right? They live so close together, right? You have one person that throws parties every Friday and Saturday night, dude, you're in trouble, right? You got to get that person out. But that's the kind of.
That's one thing though, that the property is about 4 hours from where I live.
Yep.
So I have a property management. This is my first time experiencing with a property management as well.
Yeah.
I guess that they are the one who need to be informing me, or go on to the area often and find out what's going on.
Well, so first off, like you, I invest everything since I bought my first property. I've had a property manager, so we're in the same boat.
Thank you.
But it's your job to tell the property manager what you expect, right? If you don't say anything, they're going to do the least amount of things possible. They're going to collect the rent and tell you about repairs. You should call them on Monday and say, hey, just curious, when I sent you all the leases for the tenants, how long have they been there? Do you know? And if they don't know, have them find out, right? You're just trying to get the story. Then the other thing, did you walk through and have you been inside?
Yes.
Good
yes,
man.
I did.
Good man.
We did an inspection. And we found little things that needs to be fixed, which we are going through that process right now with the property management.
Yeah.
And see so they can look at it and take some GC so they can look at the repairs that we need to do and so on. I did walk.
So what do you think? Like 10 grand, 5 grand, 2 grand? What kind of little things?
Good question. I have a budget. We have a budget of about between 6,000 and maybe 10.
All right, so let's call it 10.
To spend on those repairs.
So I'm sorry, 10,000 to what on the repairs?
To spend on to fix. If we have that budget, I don't want to go beyond that.
Yeah.
And so we have to select which things we would like to repair.
Yeah. So this goes back to one of my points about fourplexes or duplexes. Even is, in my mind, you didn't spend $215, you spent $225.
Oh, got you.
Right? Because the tenant or the landlord said, hey, I can sell this and I'm going to give him $10,000 in repairs and he's still going to pay $215. I'm lucky. Right? Just so you know. That's
fair. It's fair.
Right?
Fair to know.
Yeah. So that's just something I think. So when you walk through the units, you're eventually going to have a tenant leave. Did you get a feel for, the quality of the bathroom and the kitchen? Are they going to survive, or when the tenants leave, do you have to replace them?
No, they will survive. Survive. What I will do is I will maybe do minor repairs like painting.
Yeah. So paint, carpet, that kind of stuff.
Carpet, doors. Maybe as 1 or 2 doors that they were damaged.
Yeah. All right. So you're looking. So as long as the kitchens and bath are good, a normal tenant turn is somewhere between $3,000 and $6,000, depending. I don't know what it costs in Florida. But
that's a bit high. I thought it was less.
Well, I don't know, right? I mean, just painting a unit, the unit's probably 850 square feet.
Uh-huh.
But again, I don't know Florida. So, but again, in my market, it's tough to paint 850 square feet when you gotta maybe have the texture, repair holes. It's $850 to $1,000 depending on how much damage. Doors are $50 to $80 for it and
for each door. Yeah.
Maybe it's $3,000. But anyways, it's just stuff you have to think about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Okay. So your mortgage payment's probably around $800, 8.25, something like that.
Yeah, I'm paying I think it's like 1,100,
Oh,
like
1100.
1,100, but that's including the taxes and
Oh,
insurance.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So you impound it. That's smart. I always do that too.
Right? I hope
No,
I'm right on that number. I'm not,
no, that
I
sounds
hope.
right. No, that sounds right. Impact, if you're going to impound taxes and insurance, that's about the right number. Okay. So, um, okay. So one of the, again, I look at lots of things. So one of the first thing I look at is I want to make sure my mortgage payment, which includes taxes and insurance, is less than 50% of rent. So
Less than 50%.
yeah, less. So in your case, you're good, right? Because
Yes.
50% of rent is
Yeah.
1,300.
Yeah. My calculation was, okay, if I have two vacant units, with the two that I have rented, I will be able to pay the mortgage.
Close. Well, you got to pay property manager, you got to pay water. You'll be close.
They pay for water, but yeah, you're correct. I had to pay the property management.
Yeah. So do you have to pay garbage?
No, we have an association.
Oh,
It's
okay.
about $80. They
So
take over that.
you pay the association though.
Yes, we pay the association.
So
We
you
pay it
pay
up front.
you pay up front. What does that mean?
They cover. They charge us about $1,000 on closing, so we pay for throughout the year. But if we divide it, was about $83.
Oh, so every year you pay $1,000. All right. Well, so again, you're paying that, right? So that's it. That's the other thing about fourplexes is the owner pays for more stuff, right? You're always going to pay for property manager, whether you have a house or a fourplex. That's even. But in my experience in fourplexes, owners pay for more stuff. In your case, the association. Where I live, it's water. I also pay for garbage, right? So I'm absorbing another $150 in expenses, which in my market today means a house is a better purchase because yeah, the cash flow is different arbitrarily when you look at a quad versus a house, but when you add the extra costs and the extra turns, it's less profitable. So the other thing you need to figure out, and how long have you owned it? When did you close?
We close on the December 22nd, December 20th.
All right. So tomorrow is 1 month.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Tomorrow 1 month.
Okay. All right. So this will be something fun to watch over the next, maybe we'll do another interview in 6 or 9 months.
Great.
Because this is the thing you have to watch for is tenant turnover. And I guess you're going to find out on Monday or Tuesday how long they've been there. Because I don't I don't know the area and how frequently tenants turn. Where I invest, people in houses stay an average of 5 years, 5 or 6 years. Apartments, right? Units, it's less than 2. Right.
Okay.
So now I have exceptions, right? Some people have been there 10 years and all of that, but it's just these things you have to realize, right? If you lose 2 tenants during the year, right? Think about that. Just do the math, right? If you lose 2 tenants during the year and they're $3,000 each to repair, right? Paint, carpet, doors, all that stuff. What does that look like, feel like, right? How does your yearly cash flow? I've had some turns be so bad, it kills the cash flow of the year.
Completely. Yeah.
So that is something that a lot of new investors don't think about is tenant turnover, right? If you're cash flowing, I don't know, you're probably cash flowing $400 or $500.
Correct.
Yeah, something like that. So just think about, let's say it's 500. So 1 tenant turnover could kill 6 months of cash flow. Right? 500 times 6 is 3,000. And if turnover is 3,000.
Yeah. We're talking about 6,000 that we're losing.
Yeah,
and
that hurts, right?
That hurts. Yeah, that would be the whole profit for the year, definitely.
Yeah. So these are things you have to watch out for. And that's why I was asking you up front about what do you know about the tenants? Because maybe I'm concerned for no reason. Maybe.
Correct, but it's good to have that in mind. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but it's good to have in mind.
Yeah. So these are just things that I think a lot of people are attracted to the sexiness of telling their friends they own all these units until they have 2 tenant turnovers in 2 months and they realize they just lost a year's profit. That hurts.
That hurts.
Yeah. So I think so it'll be interesting to find out. Send me an email on Tuesday or Wednesday when you find out about your tenants.
Yeah, I will. I
I'd
will.
love to know how long each of them have been there.
That will be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't go bad.
Yes. So let me just do the math on how I run my numbers. So let's just say it's so 500. So how I do everybody's seen how I do yield. So I take your down payment, closing cost, and make ready, and I try to calculate that. That's your total out of pocket. So just to keep everybody up to speed with the numbers I'm doing, I'm taking $215,000 times 0.25, which was your down payment.
Yes.
So my math says the down payment was $53,750.
Plus closing costs. So
Yeah,
it was
plus. Yeah, how much? How much was closing?
it was about $8,000.
Oof, $8,000. What the hell was
I
going
don't
on?
know why. That's another thing. I seen some other videos that people say, "Oh, closing costs $2,000, $3,000." Here in Florida, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know
I have
Florida, so I can't speak, but
yeah.
that's
I have technically three properties, the one that we live in plus
mhm,
this one, and
mhm.
all the closing I have done refinancing on the property. And every time that I do any of this, either refinance, closing, or so,
Yeah.
is between I don't know $8 or even $10,000 just on closing.
Yeah, I wonder if you're paying points on the mortgage or fees to the
I
mortgage
did.
broker or
I
something.
didn't want. I didn't want. Not on this one though, but I have done
Okay.
it before. I pay points.
Yeah. So
I don't,
let me
what's your point of view on that, on paying points? Do you think this is worth it?
it's all about the numbers. I mean,
So,
if a point helps me lower mortgages and I plan to keep the property for 30 years, of course. Yeah. But
yeah.
yeah, each situation is different. So
Got
let's just do the math. So let's just say $53,000 or 54. Let's just round it up. 54 plus $8,000. And remember the $10,000 in make ready that you told me about, 20, the repairs you're going to do.
Yeah, but let's keep in mind they already rent it, or you still want to use it.
Oh, I'm going to still use it, man. These are my numbers. This is my game. You ain't messing around. Come on now.
Okay, all right, all right, all right.
All right.
This is,
So by my math, you are taking $72,000 out of your pocket. You with me?
yes, I'm with you.
And then we'll just say you're making $500 a month, right?
Okay.
Right. So that's $6,000 a year. You with me so far?
Yes.
So now what I do is I take 6,000 and I divide it by 72,000.
Okay.
And I come up with an 8%, 8.3% return
Okay.
or yield, which isn't bad. I mean, it's better
Yeah.
than some markets. I think you have some risk with tenant turnover. And again, I don't know if risk is the right word, but you have unknowns, right? Which you
Oh,
need to
no.
figure out next week with your property manager.
Okay.
But no, an 8% return in an appreciating market, that feels. I don't think you made a bad deal, right?
Thank you.
If it was 3%, we'd be having a very different conversation. Right.
Okay. So all right.
Right.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So so I think we need to see how this goes, right? I do think next time you need to learn more about the tenants in escrow, because again, man, you're one or two tenant turnovers from not making any money.
Yeah, I see. I see. Yeah, I didn't do that. I thought I was in between 10%, but between 8 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, these are just my numbers, right? I do them differently than everyone else, right? I
I
include
understand.
I include make ready because again, every dollar you take out of your pocket is money you can't put somewhere else.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's one of the things that me as a new investor, I don't count on that. I was just thinking, oh, I have that money there saved for me to put into the repairs or so, but I never counted into the deal like you're doing it.
Yeah, so that's what I do.
But at the end of the day, yes, it is money that we are putting into that deal as well.
Yeah, and more importantly, just think about the next time, like go see a perfect house, right? Meaning it takes zero make ready, and then compare it with your fourplex. Because what's happening is if you buy a perfect property, or some people call them turnkey,
Mm-hmm.
you're financing the repairs, right? The $10,000 that you have to pay is all cash. If you were buying a property that was already repaired, like let's say you paid the guy $225 instead of $215,
Yes.
instead of putting $10,000 towards repairs, you would have only put $2,500 because you would have been able to finance the other $7,500.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
got it?
You're right.
Yeah. So these are just little things. So in the end, I think that's a good deal review. You had some other questions.
Yes. Okay. The other question is, since I'm starting this with my brother. My brother is married. I'm married. So we were thinking, okay, would be a good idea to do an LLC,
Uh-huh.
or a corporation. And I know that it says, thank you for using.
Yeah, it's okay.
Um,
It's just telling me my meeting's running long. It's okay.
okay, sorry. So basically, the idea is that when did you started with creating an LLC? How many properties do you have before creating an LLC? That's the one question.
Yeah.
And or a corporation.
Yeah,
And the other one would be a good idea just with one, based on the situation that I have, to start with an LLC or not.
So LLCs are a tough conversation because I'm not a lawyer, right? And I'm not going to give advice. But I will answer what we did, right? This is not advice.
That's fair.
This is just what we did. So I've actually created LLCs a couple of different times over my 16 years. So when I started out, all the books I read and all the events I went to said create an LLC. So we did. We created an LLC. I think we may have owned one. We may have actually owned zero. I don't remember when the LLC got created, but we didn't own two. It was either zero or one, because that's what everybody said to do. But then what we found, again, this was 2003, it was impossible to get lending, right?
Still, in my case.
Right. And because lenders have the right to, the LLC is not seasoned, you don't have tax returns, you know, there's all these other things, right? So, and then everybody kind of told us to just buy in your name and transition to the LLC. I'm like, well, that's not really very cool because, the lender could call the loan. Yeah, they won't if it's, it's just, I don't like being sleazy. I don't like being sneaky. I don't like lying, right? And I thought that was lying. So we kept that LLC for a little while. We did a couple of owner finance deals in the LLC because you can buy in an LLC when you're talking to owners.
Okay.
But we, the stuff that we bought through banks, we bought in our name in the beginning. Now you got to remember, why do you want an LLC? You want to protect yourself. Or why did I want an LLC? I wanted to protect myself. I wanted to protect my assets. And all the books said, get an LLC.
Correct.
But what you find is, at least in the beginning, you don't really have much. So what we did for all the assets we had is we were just buying, onesie, twosie, threesies, is we had good insurance. We wrapped a huge umbrella policy around them. And then we put our owner occupant house into a trust. So we separated that. And then we went with that for several years. As we got closer to retiring, and we started to have a decent sized portfolio, we did create multiple LLCs because we had stuff paid off. We had these other things. So there were ways that we used it for protection at the end. But frankly, in the beginning, I found an LLC to be expensive because in California, it costs $800 no matter what. And it didn't really provide much protection because I didn't own anything. What were they going to take?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if I had insurance and then I had an umbrella, and the most important thing is you have to run a good business, right? Why do you want to have an LLC? It's because you want to have protection from the just in case. So the best way to do that is have a layered approach. Run a good business. Always do the right thing. Don't cut corners. Spend the extra money as the landlord, right? Make sure your property manager knows that. Then have insurance on the property that covers you as a landlord policy, and then put an umbrella on top of that. And at least in the beginning, when you don't own anything, you're okay. Now, separate your owner occupant somehow. I think Florida's the same way. You can put it in some kind of land trust or something else. Check with your accountants because that was important for us. We wanted to separate where we lived from what we invested in. So we took our house and put it in a trust to sort of separate it. And again, that was on advice from our attorney. I don't know. I mean, that's what he told us to do, so we did it, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's still there today. It's still in a trust today. So that's what I did.
Okay, yeah. I'm literally facing just everything that you just said. I'm facing it right now. Yes, I did create an LLC with my wife, but then any banks, they didn't want to give me any loans
Yeah.
and under the LLC names. And
Yeah.
then the insurance is higher. And then I'll have people telling me, man, it was a mistake to do an LLC. The property, I haven't placed it in the LLC. I haven't done the transfer to the LLC, but I did advise to my bank. I told them, look, I have an LLC that I would like to, once we close, I would like to transfer to it. They were okay with it. If you talk to them, they're okay with it. But it's still, it's not, people is telling me it's not a good idea yet to do it because it's more expensive to me, and it's more. And they also mentioned the umbrella insurance, which is great that you mentioned it as well, because that gives you a little bit more.
You have to have an umbrella insurance. This should be. Let's just if you're going to own rental properties, I can't strongly enough recommend an umbrella policy. Right. The landlord policy on a building, depending on what you get, is going to cover you for, $500 or $1 million or whatever it is, whatever you buy. But put the umbrella on top of it. They're not that expensive. Right.
Okay. All right. I will
go get it.
Okay. That's the one thing that I'm going to do. Well, I know that we're running after your time. So I just want to thank you. Thank you for the information. Thank you for the breakdown. I'm very excited about it. I have big goals.
Yeah, no, I look forward to hearing from you early next week on what you find out, and of course, don't forget to go buy my book, One Rental at a Time.
I will. One rental, because that's the way I want to do. I like my my daytime job that I have right now, so that I'm not doing this to get out of it per se, but I love the idea of receiving that check.
Yeah.
Every month, and not worry about money, not to be my worries.
Yeah.
And for my family, and so
very cool, Mike. Well, I appreciate your time this morning. I look forward to it. Congratulations on getting your first quad. I think you did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.